Welcome our first speaker, Janis A from the San Fernando Valley.
I am an addict named Janis. And for Oscar, yo soy Juanita, la bonita. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I am so excited to be Joe's warm-up speaker here. I used to go to comedy clubs, right? There's always somebody that's going to warm up the audience for you. I am so excited to be here. I am so excited to be in Hollywood. My home group was here for 13 years. I found the Hollywood area when I just had a year clean. And my home group was here for the following 13 years. And I'm from the San Fernando Valley. Thank you. Excuse me, where it all began. And I just kind of evolved going to meetings there more, and if the truth be known, there's too many ghosts in the rooms here. So many people that I've loved and lost over the last 20 years. I've had the opportunity in Narcotics Anonymous, the gift that I get here from the God of my understanding, from all of you, is love. I mean, like, it's so way cool. I didn't even know that I was lovable. I came here, I was almost 40 years old, and I never knew that I was a lovable human being. I just wanted to check my clock because I never want to go over. I never knew that I was a lovable human being. When I had 2 years clean, somebody who I'm still sponsoring today, in fact, said to me, my wish for you, this was on New Year's Eve, and he said to me, my wish for you is that you would know how lovable you really are. You see, because I've never believed I was lovable. I have never felt that I deserve love. I've been brought up in shame. Never liked myself. I have been told so many negative things about me growing up. And I bought into all of it. I bought into who I was not okay. I bought into that I laughed wrong, that I was too fat, that I was too dumb. And I started believing all of that stuff because, you see, I believed it because I started saying it to myself. And when I had 1 year clean, I started to stop negative self-talk. Started to stop. I dropped the word stupid, the word I called myself forever. And I learned how to use the word silly. It's a lot tougher it's hard to be tough on yourself. You know, when I say to myself, gosh, Janis, you do such silly things, as opposed to, you really do stupid things, Janis. I mean, just the way I would say it. And so I learned that some of the things that I do might be silly, and that's okay, because you've taught me that I learn, you've taught me that I can grow, you've taught me that I can be somebody. Because, you see, I didn't even know. I've always been somebody. I just didn't know that I was somebody. I thought that I had to impress you. I had to buy things for you. I had to do things for you. I never knew that I was okay just the way I was. And through the process of recovery, I mean, I'm still learning. I'm not perfect yet. I know. I'm not perfect yet. I intend to be perfect on October 5th, 2087. I will have 100 years clean on that day. I will have a halo, and I will graduate from Narcotics Anonymous on that day with 100 years clean. But I'll probably still keep coming back just in case you need me. I beg your pardon. Are you calling me silly? So, you know what, this program, you know what's so awesome about this program? I live alone. That's one thing that's really awesome, by the way. I live alone. Oh my God, I just got this condo. I moved into my very own place 2 weeks ago. Oh my God, it is so cool. I've remodeled it. I mean, I'm really like this productive member of society. I've remodeled it. I have these cool little pergo floors. They're so neat. And it's just like, it's so cool. It is so cool. And the gift of this program is that, see, I get to do this stuff like this. The reason I'm a productive member of society is because I work for a living. I do the footwork to remain productive. The program doesn't promise us stuff. And having stuff does not equal recovery. And I so understand that. You know, but I love having stuff. And I love having the stuff that I earn. I mean, I had stuff before. I had your stuff and your stuff and your stuff. I mean, I had stuff. But this is like things that I'm earning, that I'm working for, that I'm building on my own. And this is something I didn't know that I had this ability to do. Whoever steals, speaking about stealing stuff, somebody's car in the parking lot, there it goes. Where I come from and where I am today, it's so far apart. I'm this old street dope fiend whose life was spent on the streets. You know, I'd live here. I had a house. I mean, I had a place for a while. I raised my children in a house, a little town called Tulare, which is between Bakersfield and Fresno. And I had a 3-bedroom house on a quarter-acre lot. It was bought back in 1970. And 2 years before I got here, I lost that house because I couldn't afford the payments. Because, you see, I needed the money for drugs. I needed the money for dope every single day. And my payments were $136 a month. You know, bought in 1970, this quarter acre. But every time I would have $136, it would go to drugs, but I would have the money tomorrow, you know, in order to pay for this place. And so I lost it. Prior to my losing it, on my daughter's, I think it was her 16th or 17th birthday. I always say her 16th, but I'm not quite sure anymore. She came home from school to find me. Well, here's what happened. I had this quarter acre, and I had this 1,100 square foot garage, this old body shop garage on the property. And somebody, I just, hardly knew him, I was renting the garage, had a crystal meth kitchen in that garage. It being a separate structure, of course, I don't know, is the statute of limitations up yet? Can I say the truth? So he's cooking in this garage, okay? So the SWAT team has gotten me, there's a SWAT team, the DEA, the local sheriffs, they have me handcuffed outside the house, and they're calling to this guy in the garage, and whatever, come out with your hands up, whatever they say. And he is making crystal meth, so he has this, and being a heroin addict, I knew nothing about crystal meth, right? He has this fire, it was made with, crystal meth has got an ether base at that time, I don't know if it still does, but he took fire and threw it into what he was making, so the garage blew up. So he's running out after he throws it in and runs out. So we've got the SWAT team chasing this. My garage is blown up. I'm standing outside. The neighbors are all out there. The SWAT team's chasing this guy around my fenced quarter-acre lot. And I have a 160-pound red Doberman St. Bernard who's chasing the SWAT team, who's chasing this guy around the yard. And I mean, there was so much. I just remember the insanity of watching all of this. My neighbors had my son down the street. Someone took him. And my daughter got off the school bus. And that's what she sees coming home. And I told her, don't worry, honey. They can't do anything to me. Okay? Oh, I wasn't in there. By the way, they can, just for the record, Lee. And that's what my entire life was like. Narcotics Anonymous has given me such a phenomenal, phenomenal gift. I've learned when I came here that working the steps, and I get to take a look at these steps, and I saw we admitted we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. And for me to admit powerlessness was one of the hardest things to do. First of all, being a control freak, I have spent my whole life living under the illusion of control. The illusion. Sometimes I still think I've got control over stuff. It's an illusion. It just doesn't exist. There's nothing I can control. And when I just totally let go, that doesn't mean I don't set goals. That doesn't mean I don't do footwork. It just means I let go of the results. That's it. So I had this illusion of control, and to admit powerlessness was one of the hardest things for me to do in the world. And then also to see that my life was unmanageable. I truly thought I'm controlling it. I'd lost everything I owned. I'm homeless. My folks took me in. My folks threw me out. I got a place. I lost it. I've got nothing for the next 2 years. After I lost that house, I came down to LA, and I was here for 2 years before I got clean. And I'm thinking I had control. Everything I got's gone. But you know what? I didn't end up in a cardboard box. What's so funny about that, I think about that sometimes, had I ended up in a cardboard box, I still would have thought that I was better than, because some people didn't have cardboard boxes. So, I have this illusion, this grandiosity, my whole life has been that way. And for me to be able to truly admit powerlessness, to really see the unmanageability of my life, and even today, when I see how the disease manifests itself in me today, I just celebrated 20 years clean in October. And that's a thank you to Narcotics Anonymous. Thank you to God of my understanding. Shlomo, are you out there? Put your hand like, for you, Shlomo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech. While you were doing that, I felt I had to pray. There's something about Hebrew that makes me want to just bow my head and pray. I don't have to know what he's saying. I got to pray. There's something. I'm a rabbi's granddaughter. Anybody else having a religious upbringing? Narcotics Anonymous is my religion. I believe in the spirituality of this program. I believe in the belief that I can choose any God of my understanding. And let me tell you something. If you are sitting in this room and you do not have a God of your understanding, you still belong here. There is no rule that says, yes, our steps say we suggest you get a God of your understanding. Yes, God's a good name for this higher power. But you know what? If you don't have it, you still belong here. This fellowship is for anybody. And if someone tells you, you have to believe in God, no, you don't. It's easier sometimes, you know what, but you don't. I know a lot of people that have recovery that have chosen not to. And they've learned how to work the steps that are going to work for them. And this is really important. Don't let anybody talk you into leaving these rooms. These are the most phenomenal, this is the most phenomenal fellowship in the world. We are the only fellowship, the only one that talks about the disease of addiction. We don't address a specific drug. We don't address a specific behavior. We address the disease of addiction. So when I see Oh, well, look at that. There's a clock right up there. Put this thing away, let it vibrate in my pocket. The hell with it. Cool. So, talking earlier, I have ADD, so it's great. You know, I'm going to go over here and I can go over there, but y'all have it too because y'all can follow me. You know, and then you know, I'll say, oh, I was talking about such and such 20 minutes later, and y'all go, yeah, right. So, this powerlessness, where was I? This powerlessness and this unmanageability to truly get this and see how the disease manifests itself. See, I get key tags here for being free of drugs. I'm truly not free of addictive behaviors. Okay, I would like to be. But I know that the addiction for me manifests itself in so many different ways, aside from different chemicals. I have this sign on my bookshelf, although I've moved, so I don't know where the sign is now. It's in one of the boxes somewhere. It says, there's nothing I can eat, drink, smoke, fix, or fuck that will make any difference. Because I have spent my entire life trying to eat, drink, smoke, fix, or fuck something that will change me inside. And so I have to keep remembering that. I have to keep remembering that when I go shopping. I have to remember it in my behavior. It isn't just that stuff. It's the fact that when I give in to you and get angry, when I let you push my anger button, because you see, no one can make me angry, but you all can say things that will cause me to create anger inside of me. And the second I give up that piece of myself to you, I no longer have the power of choice. I no longer have the power of freedom. One of the things I learned through here is that, because I spent my whole life with this action and then this reaction, you know, the two hands clapping here together. And I spent my whole life doing that. And what I've had to learn how to do is to widen the space. To widen the space between action and reaction, because this is my space of freedom. This is my space of choice. And as long as I can do that, I have the choice on how to act in certain situations. But boy, as soon as I'm like this, it's over. And I become silly. I'm so grateful for this program for teaching me this stuff. In the second step in making this decision, okay? First of all, when I come to believe, I want to go there. Second, third, coming to believe that there's this power greater than myself to restore me to sanity. Perhaps that's a better second step than making a decision. So, you guys are following along. What do you know? Yep, that's the second step. Cool. So, I'm coming to believe that there's this power greater than myself that can restore me to sanity. What is sanity, I said? I've never had sanity. So what I've learned in the reading, because I've done a lot of research, a lot of reading, learning about the 12 steps, learning about the program, learning about different things. And when I learned that God restoring me to sanity is restoring me to what I was supposed to be before I went out here, to wholeness, to restore me to wholeness. And so that I could accept. Sanity was tough. I don't even know what sanity is. So maybe the sanity is becoming this productive member of society. I don't know. So I'm coming to believe that there is this power greater than myself. And I had this higher power. I mean, I came here and I had a God. I had the God get me out of this one. God, please let the dope be good, because this is my last $20. God, please let him leave something in the cotton because I'm broke. That was the God of my understanding. So I always had this God. And you see, I also had another higher power. I've had this positive higher power, and I had this negative higher power. And that was the disease of addiction. And I have turned my will and my life over to the disease of addiction all those years. In fact, I still do that today. One more pair of pants. One more pair of shoes. Chinese buffet, anyone? I mean, I turned my will and my life over to this disease, but I'm learning little by little. But I always had this disease. So all I had to do when I came here, and I make it sound so simple, all I had to do was to choose this positive higher power. instead of this negative higher power. This negative higher power is the one that always calls me. It's the one in here. Come on, Janice, eat this, try this, buy this, smoke this. You can do it one time. This is no problem. And I had this higher power. That's the one that's talking, okay? Then I have this positive higher power, my God, that says, anytime you want me, Janice, just call. So, and I believe that these two powers are equal in strength. The one that works inside of me is the one I call on. Because the second I call on this negative higher power, my God kicks back and says, let me know when you're ready. I'm here anytime you want me. Now I choose God, and the other one goes away for a minute. And then it goes, come on, Janice, try this. And that's okay. It keeps me on my toes, choosing this positive higher power. So, yeah. So, making this decision to turn my will and my life over to this power greater than myself. The great thing about that, about having this positive higher power, remembering to turn my will and my life over, being able to choose this power greater than myself, is that as long as I know I'm powerless, as long as I truly understand that I am powerless and I need this God of my understanding, as long as I know I'm powerless and I need to call on this God, I have become a powerful woman. As long as I remember I'm powerless. And that's such a great thing for me. As long as I keep remembering, Janice, you can do this, you're so capable. Oh my God, there's just so many things that I'm capable of doing today. And I've just been building this and building this. I am self-employed now. And I've been totally self-employed 3 years this month. And when I decided to do this, and the people that know me know, I had no doubt. I knew it was time. I had been building my business, and I knew it was time. And there's been no looking back for me, because I knew my God would take care of me. I knew as long as I continue to do this footwork, as long as I remember I'm powerless. And back in the day when I used to do insane things, somebody told me to tell this story, and I wasn't going to, but you're kind of a fun group. When I was back in the day, one day I took a bus trip across the United States. So I don't even have to tell it. It's the punchline already. He's just right there. I took this bus trip across the United States. It was 2 months of unlimited travel on the bus. And I always used to ride during those days on the back of the bus. And there's a longer seat there you can lay down, and it's right over the motor. And so I would ride on there because wherever I used to go, back in the day when I was using, I always took my massager with me. Okay. My vibrator, okay? So it always would go with me, okay? So I am on this LA to Dallas run. Some gals during the dinner stop asked me if I wanted to get loaded. Duh, right? Yeah. So I got off the bus with them, we got loaded, and I'm back in my, on the bus. It's dark, lights are off. I'm laying across the seat, have my pants undone, and I have this army jacket over me, and I'm using the massager. Okay, now the massager goes, but you can't hear it because the motor's going, the bus is going. So, somewhere going into Texas, late at night, the bus driver stops the bus, the lights come on, and what I thought was the guys checking for fruits and vegetables, but it was Border Patrol looking for illegal aliens. So I just kind of fixed my pants, I'm really loaded, and I'm just watching this guy, and he's rousting anybody, he's, people checking for ID. No problem, the engine's still going. Well, when this guy gets, 3-5 seats from me, the bus driver turns off the engine. Now you can hear. But of course you don't know where it's coming from. So he gets to me and he says, ma'am, may I see your ID? No, he says, ma'am, where are you from? Where are you from? And he says, what country are you from? And I said, Tulare, because I was from Tulare County. Okay. Then he says, ma'am, what country are you from? And I said, California. So meanwhile, he's going like this, looking all over because he's hearing, but he doesn't know where it's coming from. So I have to get my ID, which is in the backpack that I was using as a pillow. Now, I don't know that you know about big-legged women, but I'm getting it, and it's going, So, and the reason, let me tell you something, and I gave him the ID, no big deal, and he was gone. Meanwhile, he's still looking, right? The reason I tell this story, two reasons I tell people. Number one, because of the laughter. I love the laughter in this room. I have loved the laughter in Narcotics Anonymous since the day I got here because we are in all so much pain. And to see the laughter, and to hear the laughter, and to see the laughter is good too. And another reason that I tell it is because I want people to understand, newcomers here, people, that in Narcotics Anonymous, it is about progress and not perfection. So you see, and the reason is for me it's progress. I still use the massager. The difference is now I only use it at home. It's just such a fun story, and it's silly, and I love it. I have a great journal of that 2 months, by the way. I read it to my sponsor when I first got here. We used it as my sex inventory. I was so wonderfully young and foolish. It was great. Well, I fucked my way across the United States. Oh, my life is so changed. I think I want that, though. Just, give me a couple of weeks, right? Anyway, this is the most awesome program. I learned, when I did my 4th step, I learned to write everything down that needed to be written down. I learned that I don't write my 4th step with my 5th step in mind. So all I do is write the 4th step. I knew that I didn't have to share this stuff if I didn't want to. The main thing was to get it all out and on paper. And then when I did the 5th step, of course I shared it because my sponsor listened. What a gift it is to be able to listen to somebody's inventory. Oh my God, it is the most phenomenal thing. I just love having that gift. I love being able to do it because she laughed with me and I laughed and she cried and I cried, and it was, it was so freeing for me. And now that I have the opportunity to listen to my sponsee's steps, I have loved that since the very beginning. The gift that they give me and the trust that they give me, and I have never violated that trust. And I have never violated that trust. I never want to have anybody to have to come to me to say, how come you told so-and-so about such and such? Please, if you sponsor people, do not share their stuff with anybody else. This is a gift that somebody is giving you. And I love this gift that I get in this program. So getting to do this 4th and then 5th step, sharing it with my sponsor, and then doing a 6th step. Since I'm not comfortable with the word defects of character, because I don't think my character is defective. It's just the words that we use, and I know it's only words. I like the idea of using the words negative behaviors. For me, it's the same thing. You know what? I just had to look at the list of all the negative behaviors that I had that were not conducive to a positive recovery. And when I got to list these defects, and I got to work on them, and I learned how to make changes. And when I asked God in the 7th step to remove these defects of character, I still have to do some kind of footwork, like not do the behavior. I don't get to do the behavior and say, oops, God hasn't removed that from me yet. Because God's giving me the opportunity not to do it. And doing an 8th step and making the list of all the people that I had harmed. I want, like everybody else, right? I want to make the list of all the people that had harmed me. And it was very challenging to only list people that I had harmed, which was a long enough list as it is when I finally started looking at it. And then a 9th step in making the amends. I made amends with my sponsor's, what is the word? I don't want to say permission. in discussing, hey, when you get a little older, there it goes, what's the word? In working with my sponsor, I got to discuss it and make amends. I started making financial amends when I had 1 year clean. I owed the government, I owed the state of California, I owed people, I owed bad checks, I owed so many thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I started making financial amends. For me, it was important for me to do this. Bankruptcy wasn't an option for me because I knew that I would go there again, and I knew that if I declared bankruptcy, then I would have to make amends to a lot more people because their credit card bills and their stuff and merchandise prices go higher because I didn't pay for the merchandise I bought. I declared bankruptcy. So that didn't work for me. And so I started paying back, and I paid $10 here, $25 there, $50, $5. I sent in so many payments, and 2 weeks before my 12th NA birthday, I sent in the last payment for the wreckage of my past. So it took me 11 years to pay back the financial wreckage of my past. And then it took many more years to pay off the wreckage of my present, because I was sending the money in for the wreckage of my past. But little by little by little, I saw the changes that I got to make for me. I learned how to do a 10th step by writing, by journal writing. It was something that's very important to me. I have 7,402 days clean. And the reason I know that is because I write every night. And it's written on the top of the page. I've learned when I had 88 days clean, someone said you need to write every day. It helps you get rid of the stuff. So I started writing every day. And I've written, I want to say every day, but I skipped. You know what? I don't want to say I've ever skipped. There's probably maybe a handful top days in 20 years that I haven't written. I would be out of town, didn't take my book with me, or I went to bed and said, I don't want to get up and write. But I have written for 20 years, and it's the one constant that I have had in my life, and it got rid of the stuff. I was a 10th step, but back when I had 88 days, I didn't know it was a 10th step. I just knew I was getting rid of the stuff. So in continuing to take that personal inventory, and you know what? The commitment, by the way, is 5 minutes a night. It wasn't like I have to sit and journal write all these pages. I'd set a timer for 5 minutes. It's 1,440 minutes in a day, okay? And for 5 minutes of that time, I write. And I'd set that clock, and I would stop. And I mean, I could have a hot date, and he would be there, and I would sit down, and I would write. I'm not writing right now. I'm too busy. But I just want to write to let you know that I'm not writing. And so I wrote, see? And so I would do that, and it's worked so well for my own personal growth. I have felt so good in being able to do that. And to improve my conscious contact in the 11th step, my God has changed for me. My higher power has changed and has had more meanings and has gotten fuller. And before I just had this one, and now I see my God in the universe, and I see my God in you. And I listen to when you say things. Because sometimes my God talks. Most of the time, my God talks to me with what you're saying. Because I need to hear it. And when I can learn how to get out of judgment of you, I usually get a pretty darn good message. I have to back off of judgment because I have an inner judge. Y'all have an inner child. I have an inner judge who's a child, by the way. I have this inner judge. And I have to, every time, like I'm listening to somebody standing up here, I'm listening to someone, in my head, I need to keep saying, God, please help me listen with love. God, please help me listen with love. That is my mantra. Because when I listen with love, I always get a message, always. Sometimes it's a message that says, I'm glad I'm not that person, but that's okay. That's totally okay because I want a positive life and I want this positive lifestyle and I want what I've got. There's lots to work on. Oh my gosh. See, when I get to carry the message here in this 12-step, I'm not just carrying this message to you. I get to stay clean. I get to show up. You know, I have people will come up to me and say, oh, Janis, I heard you speak so-and-so. And when you said, and they named the thing that I said, it really helped me. Well, I never said that. You know, people will tell me I said things that I am so positive I never said. But you see, you're hearing what you need to hear. And that's what this is about. You say to me, the sky is blue, and because I need to hear what a wonderful day this is, that's what I hear. So I'd say to you, God, when you talked about what a wonderful day this was, and you go, and I didn't say that. And that's okay, because that's what happens in recovery. We all come from our own place. We all come from our own history, and we get to hear what we need to hear, however we choose to interpret it. Sometimes we interpret it in a negative way and we have to bounce it off someone and we realize that it was negative or we were looking at it the wrong way. But that's what we get to do in this program, is to have the opportunity to go, okay, I needed to hear that. And it doesn't matter what it is. So I got to tell you, this is an awesome program. I got to stop in a couple of minutes here, 40 minutes, and because I have no story, I could stop on a dime. It's like, okay. I cannot express more, I cannot not express the gratitude I have for Narcotics Anonymous. I got to tell you, oh, that's what I started to say before. I live alone. Remember when I was telling you way back there, I live alone? Because of Narcotics Anonymous, I will never be a lonely old lady. Never. I can travel anywhere. I can go anywhere. I know that I don't have to have this anyone in my life, because they have to be there. After all, I don't want to be alone. I'm not alone. I have the joy of living alone. And I have the joy of anybody I want in my life in the program of Narcotics Anonymous. Wherever I go, anywhere in the United States, I am always welcome at Narcotics Anonymous. I mean, we have got the best thing in the world. They call us the last house on the block, but it's such a party house. I mean, this is the place. We are anywhere. And as long as we continue to open up and allow ourselves to be loved, oh my God, this is phenomenal. So I have to stop. So I have to say this one thing that I always say. This is a marvelous program. You are in for a hell of a ride. And they tell you here to grab your ass and to hold on tight. And I want you to know that I love you. I truly love you. It doesn't mean I like you, okay? I love you means, you know, if I like you, I got to like you before I'm going to invite you to my house. And if I don't know you, I don't know if I like you. But I love you means if you need to talk, I will listen. And if you need to listen, I will talk, because I really care. So I love you, and you're in for a hell of a ride, so grab your ass. And if you have any trouble grabbing your ass, please grab mine, and I will take you with me.